Hello, hello. Welcome to She Boss Talk. I am Shantae Roddy. I'm coming on with very important news regarding the Paycheck Protection Program forgiveness application and its requirements. So there's some good news and there's also some important news that I want to provide you all that you may want to look out for as well regarding the overfunding. I did mention that in a previous video, but it's important that I mention it again so that you are on the lookout if this will impact your particular PPP loan or not. So I just want to take the time to welcome all of my viewers in. Let me know that you can hear me and see me, because again, this is important information. We want to make sure that you all get what you need so you can take action on behalf of yourselves and your business. Do give this video a thumbs up. Show us some love, right? Hit that love button, okay? Do share out this video and our channels to those you know. We know sharing is caring, and there's still so many business owners that don't have access to the same information. So we need all business owners to get access to this information so that they can get their PPP loans forgiven, right? That's what we want. And then do subscribe. We're inching towards our next milestone, which is 25,000 subscribers. So we thank you all so much for those who have subscribed. If you have not subscribed already, do help us out, right? If this channel, our content has been a benefit to you, you definitely want to subscribe, and then also hit that notification button so you get notified every time that I go live. I love going live. I love engaging with the audience. I love getting to know all you entrepreneurs and small business owners out there. And as we know, with the stimulus programs that are out, things change every day. There's something new happening every day that is impacting you and your small business. So I want to make sure that you're the first to know, not only know about the programs, but know how to go out there and get it for yourself, how to overcome the challenges and the roadblocks so you get the money that you need for your business. So with that said, this will be hopefully a short video. So I'm going to get right into the important news that is out there. So the first thing I want to let you all know, now this is not going to impact all about PPP, those that have been funded PPP, but for some, it definitely will. But if you have not checked out my video that I did on July 8th about the forgiveness deadline, okay, you definitely want to go check that out, especially if you got your loan funded in 2020. But it is also helpful for those that got their loans like I did in 2021. But the first important update is regarding the Loan Necessity Questionnaire form that the SBA has withdrawn. So they announced effective immediately, they was withdrawing that form. Now that form was specifically for the first draw PPPs for those that received $2 million, were funded $2 million or more in PPP money. As you know, if you apply for PPP, there's a whole certification process that you go to when you open up the application. The first thing you had to do was self-certify, right? And they did this to speed up the process so it didn't overburden us as the business owner or the lender. So you can move through the process. So it's really a good faith certification that you're certifying that the information is accurate, that you're telling the truth. And one of those is the certification that there was a need for you to be taking out the PPP loan. Okay. So that was available for everybody to self-certify in good faith. There was not, if you had under 2 million, then you didn't have to fill that out. If you had received over 2 million, you were required, but it added extra burden onto the lender and to the business owner. So I've said many times that there are many advocates out there and there are lawsuits, okay? So there are industry advocates all around that are fighting on our behalf, speaking up for us on our behalf to try to get changes to make the processes easier. And that's what they did. And so the SBA has removed the form. Now, this will really only affect those that have not already applied for forgiveness at this time, right? So if you are a business business owner and you were funded $2 million or more and you already got your forgiveness, then this would not really apply to you. It's just those that are needing to apply for forgiveness going forward. That form is eliminated because I said before that it's a process for the lenders to go back through all of these loans and go through the process. Is like another application, right? You're applying for forgiveness because it's not an automatic process. So they're looking at more ways to streamline it. So the SBA is already working towards that. They want to make sure that they get more loans forgiven. And I know this form was interfering with the timeline of 90 days that the SBA has to be able to issue the determination if the loan is going to be forgiven. So this is one of the steps. This is not the last step in the process of streamlining to make sure everyone gets their loan forgiven that are eligible, but this is one of the steps in that process. Okay, so that is again for all of you all that had loans valued over $2 million. So there are definitely business owners that did. Because I believe the first draw you could get up to 10 million. Okay, this did not apply to second draw because with second draw they implemented the requirement that you had to again verify that you had a 25% decrease in gross revenue, gross sales, right? Between a period and compared to a period in 2020. Compared to your the amount you made in 2019. So I reviewed that in the last PPP video, that again, that requirement, that is a requirement. So if you received under 150,000, then it was streamlined. So you didn't necessarily have to give it up front per the SBA, but some lenders required it, some did not. But on the back end, when you do go request forgiveness, you need to have that, be able to provide documents to show that you actually had a 25% decrease in gross sales. Not all year, it had to be within a specific period or quarter that they look at to determine. But they did look at too. You could provide the quarterly statements, or you could show that there was a decrease in the entire year. It just depends on your lender and how they approach that. But I know those were options that one of my lenders gave when I applied for the second draw. Okay, so that is that news. Again, the Loan Necessity Questionnaire it has been withdrawn. It is removed. It is no longer required. One of the first steps in further streamlining the forgiveness process, because there are millions of loans. I think in 2020 alone, I think 12 million loans were approved for like 800 million, right? And so we know they quickly ran out of money and funded more businesses in 2021 and ran out of money before the extended deadline of May the 31st. So the next thing is that I wanted to talk about is the PPP portal. Now, the SBA is preparing to implement a new portal for forgiveness. Now, understand that right now you have to go through your lender, because people ask me this all the time. How do I get forgiveness? Where do I go? Where do I send the application? You have to go through your lender, the same lender that approved your loan, that gave you the funds, is who you go back to get it forgiven. However, the SBA is now preparing to implement a new portal so that for some, they can circumvent the lender. So in special circumstances, they can bypass the lender and apply directly with the SBA. So what are those circumstances? The circumstance is if your lender went out of business, right? So there's a lot of lenders. And so I was surprised about that. I'm like, a lender went out of business, but banks, financial institutions do go out of business. Okay. So if they went out of business and you can't get a hold of them, what other way would you have to be able to apply for forgiveness, right? That should not, again, reflect anything or hold up your application process because they went out of business. So that will help you as well. We do know also, many of you all that are still in the pipeline, I did a questionnaire the other day of who are still in process for PPP applications. So there were many still in process and don't know what's going on with their application, if they will get it or not. So the SBA understands that there are some very non-responsive lenders out there. You all know because you all have been dealing with them. And so for that reason as well, if you have a very non-responsive lender, this will be an option for you as well. But if you have a responsive lender, right, it definitely, you go to your lender and you make the effort to see if you could get forgiveness directly through your lender. So I know most that are right now processing forgiveness applications are working on 2020. So they usually do it in phases because there's so many, right? So if you applied in 2021, don't expect that you will be first in line to get have a forgiveness application. I know I need to go back and check with my lender. I know the one PayPal was one of the lenders, and the last time I checked, were working on like the second phase of applicants, and those were still from 2020, right? So I'm not pressed about it because I know I applied in 2021. I'm tracking the date, and my goal is just to apply for forgiveness around the 10 and a half week mark. But if they're still not ready, that's okay. I have 12 months from the end of the covered period. Whether your covered period is 8 weeks, if you applied and were funded before June 5th of 2020, if you were funded after that, your covered period is 8 to 24 weeks, whichever you decide to use. And then that's when, after that covered period, you have 12 months or you have 10 months. Okay. You have 10 months. And then after that 10 months, as I said in the last video that you want to go check out, is that then you payments will become due. So this is very important. There were a lot of people apply for these programs and don't really know what they are. Some people told them it was just free money out here. Right? People gave false misinformation that, it's just automatic. You get this free money. No, ma'am. No, sir. You have to apply for forgiveness. And then if you did not provide the documentation up front, you would have to provide the documentation on the back end. There's not a guarantee that your loan will be forgiven. Why I do these videos is to improve your chances, to make sure that you had all of your documents and your records in order, so that, and you gave correct information at the time you applied to basically guarantee that you would get 100% forgiveness. Okay. So that is the second good part of the good news, right? Is that new portal. Because I know a lot of people are frustrated with the fact they're still in the process, or they got the loan, but they've had a hard time getting a hold of their lender. So that is going to be an alternative. So as the SBA provides updates, I will provide updates to you all as well. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, I talked about in the previous video, but I'm going to talk about it again here, is the overfunding, because lenders are starting to send you all notices that you have an overpayment. You were overfunded. And as I said in the previous video, if your overfunded amount is more than $10, you will have to owe that back. So I was reading through some articles today, and some news reports that they had came out. And this was one. There was a gentleman out of Illinois who the article was that Bank of America was making up their own rules and impacted a small business owner in Illinois. Now, this business owner, okay, kudos to him, went to YouTube. I tell you, there's things you can do if you are stuck in a process and people are just not responding. There's things that you can do. Okay. The first thing he did was went to YouTube. Okay. And got the word out there about his struggles with Bank of America. Bank of America sent him a notice. Okay. This is what happened. He was given $38,730. $38,000. That's almost $40,000. He received a letter that said of that $38,730 that he will only be forgiven $2,436. Can you imagine how his mind was blown? What do you do with that news? That and he said that he had foregone the EIDL loan because he wanted to pursue the PPP, which is a forgivable loan, thinking he would get 100% forgiveness. And then Bank of America comes back and says, oh, wait a minute, no, it's not even close to the amount you asked for. Now, one thing that he said is concerning, and please check, this may apply to you, especially some of y'all that either did it yourself, didn't know what you were doing, or you have someone else do it, making up numbers, putting employees down. Now, he stated that he had 12 contracted labor. Contracted labor are not employees. So I'm not sure by the news report if it was really an internal error or they processed it based on the fact he said he had 10 employees and he did not. Okay. I don't know that. Okay. So, but with that said, you know, when you apply for PPP, if you don't have W-2 employees, you can't count contracted labor as employees. And that means you only have the amount that you have W-2 employees. If it's just you're employee of one. You're employee of one. So you can see what difference that makes if you're calculating a loan amount based on 12 employees that you don't really have. Okay. Again, I don't know if he had them or not. I know it's stated contracted labor is not the same as employees. Okay. And I already know a lot of people mess that up. I already know that because I've just seen it across the board with all these programs, and people are not clear of what is considered an employee and what is not. Okay. So he went to YouTube, and then the story got picked up by CBS News. That's why I say, too, don't be afraid to take it to the news, take it to Twitter, wherever. If you have a story to tell, you've been impacted, your business has been impacted. I mean, I get so many stories that I say, you shouldn't just be sharing it with me. You should be sharing it with the news. Get on a platform, tell people your story, and then go to the news, go to the paper, go to the your news channel locally or wherever you are, and get the word out. This helps not only you, but it helps other business owners in our plight and our challenges to get help going forward. So that's what he did. And so, you know, I guess the COO contacted him after this news report and said that they would absorb the error. Okay. And then they would give him a 5-year payback period. He hired an attorney. And so what was said is that Bank of America or any other lender can't just, streamline or make up their own rules or go into negotiations without first presenting it to the SBA first. Okay. So that he has an attorney. His attorney offered a 50-50 split. Bank of America has not accepted it because of the reason they have to present it to the SBA. So that's where it is right now as far as that particular case goes. But that is not the only one. So again, the lenders are now beginning to send out notices if you were overfunded. Okay. And if you were overfunded, they need to be able to explain why. And like, whose error was it? Was it your error? Was it their error in the calculation? Because it could be. So an example of that is like unemployment, right? So we know that happened a lot across the board. There was a lot of overfunding, not just due to fraud. Okay, it was internal errors or errors on the behalf of the actual applicant. So I was one of those, and it was not my fault. I provided all the correct information. They miscalculated because people have a hard time. Not everybody knows how to calculate self-employed income. So obviously they made an error, which is not my fault. So I received today a notice about a waiver. So this is not an unemployment video, but do check if you received unemployment and an unemployment overpayment notice and it was not your fault. You should receive something from your state if they are waiving that. So a lot of states they receive funding from the federal government to be able to do so. And so one way or another, I knew that I'm not going to be responsible for an overpayment that is not my fault. But again, you have to fight for it. It's not like it came easy, right? I went through the process. I filed an appeal and I showed up with facts, right? I know exactly when I submitted documents, what I submitted, the amounts I submitted it, and I know that it was an internal error. So now I'm going to see this process through. I'm in Ohio. So those that are in Ohio, there is a waiver. You probably received an email this morning. But again, it's just an example of when there are overpayments and how they're going to handle it. The lenders are coming to you for the overpayment. So this is especially for a lot of you all that had other people submit your applications and you don't have a clue of what they submitted. And then they come back to you saying you have you've been overfunded. So if you've been overfunded or you received that notice, please let me know in the comments. I would be interested to see if any of my peers have received notices as of yet. But that's very important. You want to avoid having to pay any money back. Now, there are going to be businesses that pay money back, and some are paying gladly, because I know some people came to me, they knew their accountant or tax person or person they hired did something wrong, or they submitted things in error, and they were like, what can I do? I mean, I would just pay it back. But not everybody is in a position to do that. But again, that's why in the beginning, anytime you're applying for programs, you have to do your due diligence. You can't just be rushing through the process and not providing correct information and then hiring folks that you don't know what information they're putting down on your behalf. Because guess what? At the end of the day, who's responsible? You, the business owner. That person is long gone. They are not responsible. Okay. So you are responsible as the business owner. They're coming back to you. Okay. So, but you do want to make sure that you are reaching out to your lender, finding out about their forgiveness process, when they're going to start accepting applications. Make sure that you have spent your money during the covered period. Okay. It is not money that you just sent on. Somebody just asked me the other day, like they haven't spent your money. Okay. So you have, depending, again, if you applied in 2021, you have 8 to 24 weeks to spend your money. You do not have to wait till 24 weeks. That's the period you have, right? To be able to do it. So, that's important news. Now, if you've applied for forgiveness, please let me know, because let us know, right? If you've applied for forgiveness, if you've applied and also received forgiveness. I have a lot of peers that have, because people ask us all the time, do you have anybody else in this situation? Anybody else apply for forgiveness and get it? Yes. So I know there are many business owners that have already applied for forgiveness, but not nearly enough. There's still millions of businesses that have been funded that have not even requested forgiveness. And if you don't, you're going to be left with that bill. I want you all to know that. Please tell your friends and family and peers that got PPP that don't know this. They're going to be left with it. And if there's any case of fraud, which there are, and yours is under investigation or yours was flagged for fraud, you may have gotten a letter that will say that your money is due now. It will be a demand letter saying that you owe now, effective immediately. Okay. So I hope that doesn't happen to a lot of you all out there, but I know it's going to happen to some, because I know that there are applications that were fraudulent. Okay. So I just want to make sure that you all have that information. Let me make sure that I didn't forget anything else. Again, I said this is going to be a short video. Just wanted to come share some good news and some important news so that you, again, take action. So you know what to expect if you get an email that shows that you've been overfunded. But you definitely want to hear from your lender. But don't wait to hear from them before you reach out and find out what's going on so you can apply. So the first opportunity that I get, I want to apply, get it forgiven, get it over with. Because guess what that means? That means that is free money that you do not have to pay back, right? You don't. That's one of the great benefits of this program, is that it is forgivable, that you have the opportunity to get it forgiven. Now, if you don't get it forgiven, there are great loan terms. There's 1% interest rate. If you were funded before June 5th of 2020, then your maturity date is 2 years. Now, you may or may not be able to negotiate that or change that to 5 years with your lender. Like I said, with the example I just gave you with Bank of America, they, once they got the lawyer involved, they said that they would be willing to push it to 5 years, where it was a 2-year term. Now, any applications after that is a 5-year term loan. Okay. So I want to make sure you know that too. If you have to pay back, it is still a good loan with good loan terms. And so I'm just going to look real quickly. I see you all out there. Just give a shout out to everyone. I hope everybody is having a good day, that you're progressing in your business. If you haven't shared your business, do share it here in the comments if we haven't seen it before. So I'm just going to see if I have any questions. I see all the comments out there. Someone is asking me about a box. That's a different program. That's the EIDL program. We're talking about PPP in this video. Someone saying when they apply for forgiveness, they deposited their last PPP. Who do I contact? I think they're asking, who do they contact? You go back to your lender. What percentage of PPP has to be used by the time? All of it, 100%, 100%, 100%. So at least 60% to qualify for 100% forgiveness. Now you can get partial forgiveness because this program has been extended and changed, throughout the pandemic. Okay, so things changed since the first iteration. So you can get partial forgiveness on this loan, but to get 100%, you must spend 60% on payroll related costs. So if you have 0 employees and it's only you, then you can spend 60% or you can spend 100% on your salary replacement. So I've already done videos on how to handle that situation. Whether you have a business account or a lot of you all gig workers and independent contractors are doing business out of your personal accounts, please stop that. Please stop it and go get a business bank account in your business name with the EIN. It's so super easy to do it. And it's just going to save you a lot of hassle, a lot of headache that I know a lot of you all have experienced, a lot of delays in getting your money. Your accounts have been shut down. So you want to avoid that in the future. And the benefits is that this is one of the only programs, because it's a federal program that even allows sole proprietors like that to get access to funding. A lot of other programs will exclude you for the simple fact that you're a sole proprietor and you're operating with a personal bank account. I mean, I can't say that enough because there's literally millions of people doing business every day that's not used. And some of you aren't even using any type of account, don't know anything about what transactions you made. And so that's going to make it very difficult for you to get access to any grants or any other type of funding. So again, start where you are now. Let's make sure we get in our business in order, because I keep hearing the sad stories in my inbox and my email, like long drawn out stories about you've been in business 6, 7, 8 years. Okay, year 1, okay, maybe. But you've gone this long and you didn't think to get a business bank account. You can't be operating on cash. And you didn't think to include it on your taxes. These are legal requirements that you can get penalized for and possibly go to jail for by doing. It's not optional. It is not. You think you can just go make money on the side and just never have to be accountable for it? And then when these programs come for free money, you're like, okay, where's my money? You can't get it. I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Okay. You have to check if Wampley's portal is open. I know, later in the game, they've been a little non-responsive. Some of these, brokers like Wampley and Blue Acorn, I had experienced a lot of non-responsiveness, but they should have a web page that says, that talks about their forgiveness process. Reach out to them, Google it. It should pop up as well. Someone is saying they gave everything bank statement, they're still denied. Okay, so that's like a denial. So for all of these things, if you're still in the process, there's videos on that. I did some research. I still haven't seen anything about reopening up a PPP or what's happening with those still in process. I was shocked to see so many people still in process when the program actually, the SBA was supposed to end processing June 30th. It's July 13th, and I don't know that they're done processing. I don't know if they are. There's no procedural notice. There's no news release that they have sent out. All I know is that several of my peers have reported that they're still somewhere in the process with their application, and there's no movement. So if you are in the process of PPP and have had some movement, status change, status update, or been funded in the last month, please let me know in the comments. Okay, because I want to see what they're doing with these applications that are still in the pipeline. So I know like some of these, like Womply and some of the other ones, were still, after they closed it down, we're still accepting applications. Now those are not going to get processed because they were taking those on with the hope that they would reopen the program. I'm really talking about those you already had it in process, or you were approved waiting on funding, or you were funded still waiting on funding, right? I want to know where you are in the process, and have there been any movement, any correspondence, anything regarding your application in the last month? Let me know. Okay. So that's it for today. I'm going to keep it short. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. I will come on with another update. Again, there's so many things going on that you need to know about. So I'll be back on around the same time tomorrow. As always, continue to be the boss with amplified impact and continue to stay safe and in good health. Have a wonderful day.